Now, there's no doubt about it that one of the biggest plans by John, George, Dave, Tony, as well as Timothy Zahn, that is consisting of the current dream team of the Star Wars franchise, is to really focus on both Star Wars Legends coming to life, as well as providing a lot of retcons toward the sequel trilogy, and a lot of changes toward that specific canon in particular. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support, and without further ado, let's get right into the subject. Now, one thing that we do know about when it comes to John and Dave is that it's all about reworking the sequel trilogy canon and the lore. They've actually come forward with this multiple times, that in order for them to embrace specific legend stories that they want to tell, they had to sacrifice some sequel trilogy canon in the place, by the way. Now, one thing in particular that a lot of fans have been quite upset about is the New Jedi Order movie, also known simply as the Rey movie, alright? Because we know that Daisy Ridley is coming back as Rey. A lot of fans seem to have a growing problem with that character returning. But what John and Dave are doing with the post-Episode 9 series that actually takes place sometime after the New Jedi Order film is that they are going to be reinventing the Rey character completely, where the character is going to come across as a very different character, so to speak. So you're going to get a brand new treatment of the character, where it's not going to be like how she was in the sequels, so that should be interesting. But what's even all the more engaging is exactly what they have planned for the character of Ben Solo, and yes, even actor Adam Driver. Now, specifically, with John and Dave beginning to develop new Star Wars stories for the fandom, one of which is set to begin development by the end of this year that is set to do the impossible for the franchise. However, one of the big updates involving the return of Ben Solo that will be portrayed by Adam Driver again, with Ben considered to have been dead at the end of 9, John and Dave are developing a big retcon to the sequels that fans may come across to love or hate. The post-Episode 9 series is set to feature a reinvented Rey, like I said before, by John and Dave, where the character will be completely different with the return of Ben Solo coming into light. Now, the plan that John and Dave have illustrated in recent storyboards for the show involves that Ben never really died and was stuck in the world between worlds. John and Dave are said to be on a mission to make it that Ben Solo survived after the sequels, and will eventually have a special reunion with Rey in the upcoming post-Episode 9 series that is planned to span over the course of 25 years, after the events of Episode 9 with multiple time jumps. So let me just, pause here quick before I get to the next big piece, is that we talked about this briefly a couple months ago, that yes, there is a post-Episode 9 series in the works that's going to really bring back Ben Solo in full swing, and to really give us a better version of him. Now, given that we never really got to embrace the character all that much in the sequels, because light side, Kylo Ren, whatever you want to call him, Ben Solo, he only had a little bit of screen time in the entirety of the sequels. We had him a little bit in flashbacks, and then we had specifically one moment at the tail end of The Rise of Skywalker, where we have Ben Solo going up against Palpatine and defending Rey and stuff like that, working alongside her. And that was pretty much all we got. So basically, John and Dave believe that we deserve to have a lot more Ben Solo, at least for a series, to kind of expand that character and what he's really capable of. Now, what's interesting is their portrayal of the world between worlds. For those of you that don't know about the lore, the world of Exegol, where Ben Solo seemingly died and vanished into thin air, underneath the surface of that world, per canon, there lies a Vergence of the Force, and the Vergence of the Force is reported to have a strong connection to the world between worlds. So you can see that John and Dave are actually using established lore and canon already, and are reworking it and what they were able to do. Now, there's said to be some kind of time dilation effect in the WBW, where in Ben Solo's reality, time was very different in compared to where Rey was centered. So you're going to have some kind of time dilation effect between these two different characters. So that's going to be interesting as well. Now, moving to the next thing here is that Adam Driver has already been contacted by Lucasfilm, including those at Disney as well, and has reportedly already signed on for the role of Ben Solo again. Jon and Dave are also planning to give him a Jedi-like appearance in the special series. He has also been in the talks to join a specific Marvel project, but that is a mystery so far as specifics go. Now, with Driver recently hired for the show, Jon and Dave are currently writing the rules and the capabilities of the WBW and special powers that it actually holds. Daisy Ridley has also signed up for the role of Rey, where her backstory will now hold strong connections to both Palpatine and Kenobi's bloodline. Now, again, the biggest thing about Adam Driver is that he has been specifically instructed to not confirm that he is returning, much like with what Ewan McGregor was instructed to do when he was returning for Obi-Wan Kenobi, where he was told to lie to the fan base that he is never coming back or that there's no talks about that even happening. So a similar effect is being instructed for Adam Driver here by Disney to tell him to do just that. Now, here's another thing that I think a lot of fans are going to find interesting, is that Jon and Dave are aimed to give Ben Solo a very different design in the post-Episode 9 series, and it makes you wonder, what kind of different design is Ben Solo going to have in this series? Is he going to look older, or is he simply going to have a brand new uniform, something like that? We know simply so far that he's going to have a Jedi-like appearance. Now, that could go both ways. It could go, you know, for example, maybe he's going to have a beard, or maybe he's going to have Jedi-like attire per the new Jedi Order, who knows? But what's even all the more intriguing to me is whether or not fans are going to agree with this approach, and whether or not fans are going to love this or hate this. That's what I'm really intrigued to hear what you guys have to say, because I think the best thing that came out of the sequels, as much as I am a critique over them and a little bit of a skeptic about Adam Driver coming back, even though I fully support his return, I'm a little skeptical on how it's going to be executed. They're going to have to really treat this thing very carefully, and it's going to have to be written very well, where it's going to make a lot of sense to even casual audiences out there. So, look, I mean, I'm not quite sure if this is going to fix anything with the sequels, but I for sure think it's going to definitely create more entertainment value of the character of Ben Solo. There's a lot more to tell about this character other than flashbacks and stuff around those lines, where a lot of fans just want present-time Ben Solo again, and this is what Jon and Dave are fulfilling. And this is basically, by the way, what Adam Driver wanted. He specifically wanted Solo to live, and his dream was not met because of Kathleen Kennedy. Even J.J. Abrams created an entire ending where both Rey and Ben walk into the sunsets of Tatooine, and it ends there like that. That's what he wanted, but that was sabotaged too by Kathy. Not a big surprise there. So I think that this is great. You know, I think it's a healthy thing for, you know, Ben Solo to live on, given that he is a Skywalker at the end of the day, so why not? You know, so we know that there are additional plans to add in more Skywalkers by Jon and Dave, which is great and all, but I think that this is a great move. I really do, as long as it's executed very well. So overall, guys, you know, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.